Hey, what's up my Legos? Hardleg Joe here. Who else would it be? Coming at you with another What a Deck follow-up video, another answering the comments video, another Yu-Gi-Oh discussion video. Whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm coming at you with. It's 2019. YouTubers are going to be coming at you with various things, and if you're not prepared, if you don't have your fighting stance, you might not stand a chance. But yeah, I digress. This week, I played Evil Heroes Unchained, an Unchained deck with Evil Heroes in it. You know, just in case you couldn't tell from the title. I don't know, maybe you're a little slow, maybe a little slow on the uptake there. Comment in the comments if you're slow, I won't make fun of you. And, you know, overall, the deck, alright. I mean, I'm actually kinda happy with the deck, but I'm not really happy with how it performed on there. I think jumping into our first comment, Bad, Frankly, and the Fungi Bunch. Weird name. But yeah, he over on the Patreon said, "You seem disappointed about how this deck performed. Do you think it has more to do with the yugioh Pro meta, if there is such a thing, than the deck itself? Do you think if there was 100 hypothetical duels, would it even out?" And to answer the last question first, yeah, I think after 100 duels, this would probably have a little bit higher win percentage. Looking back at the duels I lost, there were a lot of unusual things there. I mean, of course, the very first duel against Gravekeepers, where they just locked me down immediately. And I think I said in that duel, you know, even if I was playing Salamandrates or like some kind of meta deck, if your opponent just, like, immediately hits you with the Necro Valley and the unable to special summon and, like, two 1800 beaters, there's not really a whole lot that most decks would be able to do. I guess Sky Striker would be able to play through it because they mostly rely on spells and stuff anyway. They don't really need to special summon, but anything else, like Thunder Dragon's gonna have a hard time. Orcust even gonna have a hard time. If they can't special summon, and they can't use the graveyard, and they can't banish things out of the graveyard, then yeah, it's just oof. After that, we had the Red Eyes deck that summoned Dragon, or whatever its name is, the new fusion that can't be targeted, can't be destroyed, can pop 2 cards per turn and inflict damage equal to their attack, and can also negate anything by discarding a card. Which, you know, I kind of feel like almost any deck is going to have a little trouble with that. My deck actually does have outs to that. I play the Kaiju specifically to out cards that I can't get rid of with targeting or destruction. The problem is, I had 2 monsters on the field already, and the double destruction burn damage plus attacking for 3,000, it just OTK'd me outright in the one turn, and I never had a chance to summon a Kaiju on it or use it. I think if I played a match against that deck, if I played a little more cautiously, I might have a better chance. I don't know, it's hard to tell because it's a really new card and I'm not exactly sure how to play around it. Because there's not really any disruption you can set up to try to stop that because you can't target it or destroy it. And it's not like you can just set cards until you get to your Kaijus because they can blow up the cards and inflict burn damage to you. And it already got a ton of high attack too. So, I don't know, that's just kind of a hard thing. I'd be interested to see how other decks deal with that once that card comes out. And then our other 2 losses were just against Draco, and Draco just has a pretty good matchup against this deck. I don't think it always wins against this deck. In fact, I have 2 replays of me playing against Draco where I beat them, including one where it's another Unchained Draco deck, which was something specifically that I lost against. And, you know, it's a really good matchup, I just didn't quite play it as well as I should have. I think the loss had more to do with me as a pilot, or just sort of like luck of the draw, because whoever can get out there, their Unchained stuff, and start linking away things first is going to be the victor. Because getting into a destruction battle against each other is not really going to do a whole lot. There's also, I'm not sure if I'm playing these replays in the background, but if I am, you'll notice that the one card that Draco has that can really get in good against the Unchained deck is their one card that like halves the attack of everything. And in my other duels against Draco, I always made sure to, like, take that out first at any expense, even if it costs me my monster, because that's the one thing that I really need to worry about. And watching the What a Deck duels back didn't really focus on that, either because I didn't know it was there, they played a lot of set cards, or just I couldn't destroy it in time. So overall, I guess I'd say I'm proud with how the deck performed. I'm just less proud with sort of how I played and sort of how luck kind of is a combination of bad playing and bad luck. But I think the actual building of the deck is pretty sound. This is one that I spent a lot more time testing than I normally did because of various circumstances, and I think it works pretty well. King Zirmis asks, what do you think the major weaknesses of this deck are? Example, a chained super poly to the Link Summon effect, lowering the attack of Bane so the effect doesn't work. And yeah, I think he pretty much nailed it on the head. That's the only real big weaknesses of this deck. I guess non-destruction removal in general kind of hurts this deck. I mean, not any more than other decks, but I guess if anything, the real weakness of this deck is that it's a go-second deck that doesn't OTK all the time. It doesn't do it as consistently as I would like. And perhaps maybe I should consider taking out some of the traps. I don't know, that's the thing about Unchained, is that their traps are sort of this double-edged sword. On the one hand, they're very slow, they don't work for the kind of go-second board destruction that you want, but they're also your play starters. You need to open with a spell trap and one of your Unchained little monsters to get the big Unchained doggo out of the deck. So you kind of want to play them at 3, but I'm sure you could find some sort of ratio, especially if you were playing draw power. I think Pot of Desires could work in here if you activated it after you summoned your doggo out of the deck. Or maybe even Pot of Extravagance, because all you really need if you're going to OTK is just the blue doggo and then like a Link 3, and then Malicious Bane. And I played a big toolbox because I kind of went for this, I'm going to try to OTK, and if I don't, then I have the grind game with all these toolbox elements to deal with whatever. Which worked really well in certain duels, but I think it'd probably be better if I just took out the toolbox and focused on making it do one thing really, really well. Moving away from my build specifically, though, Warped Leg Wesleykin asks, what kind of cards does this archetype need to make it competitively viable? Because if you missed the episode, I had talked quite a bit about how I think Unchained has a lot of potential. I think it's 1 or 2 cards away. I think it was around this time last year that we got Orcust first announced, and it has a lot of things in common with the Unchained. They're both kind of small archetypes that you have to mix with something else, and they could do some neat things. They had a lot of like searching and recycling, but they didn't really have enough of a game plan, enough of a win condition to be a meta-viable deck. And then within the span of a couple months, Orcust got like 3 cards that just absolutely blew them open and made them a meta contender. Like they got a counter trap, and they could already search all the spell traps. And then they got Dingirsu, this Ixie that you could slap on top of a Link monster that no one saw coming. That just had, like, non-targeting, non-destruction removal when summoned, and also protection from destruction. And Unchained have a lot of the same things. They have a lot of searching, they have a lot of recycling, they have spell traps that can, like, get stuff out of the grave, they can pop their own cards. And I really think if they got some kind of extra deck monster, maybe, again, an Ixie, a Contact Fusion, some kind of counter trap, there's a lot of ways that you could take this deck and with 1 or 2 cards, make it busted. As for what specifically they need, I think their only real weakness is targeted removal, like I said earlier. If they had something like Dingirsu, like some kind of monster that came down and just says, Unchained monsters cannot be targeted by card effects, that makes the deck a lot stronger, because now your only way to deal with them is to destroy them, or like a kaiju, or like Storming Mirror Force. Suddenly you're narrowed down to like 3 or 4 very specific outs, or destruction, of which they're going to float on. And if you can have that protection in something that's also going to have a proactive effect on the duel, maybe something that can like double its attack, or destroy multiple monsters, or maybe link with multiple monsters your opponent controls, just any kind of removal, or any kind of like negation quick effect, along with protection from targeting. If they can do that some way, then suddenly this deck, I believe, becomes really good. But anyway, moving over to the comments, we have Alejandro Venasco, I hope I pronounced that right, who asks, with the results of the matchups you fought here, would you change anything about the deck, or would you say it was either bad luck or misplays that made you lose the games you lost? And I think I already kinda answered this earlier when I was explaining my general thoughts about the deck. Yeah, I think it was mostly bad luck or misplays on my part. I don't think I would change anything, although that's not to say that the deck couldn't be better. An important thing to remember about my decks, about my philosophy with deck building, is that I'm specifically building to be entertaining on the show. I want it to be really good, but I also don't want people to see the same tech cards used every single week, which is why I avoid playing like Ash Blossom or Called by the Grave, unless it has some specific synergy with the deck, or like I have a specific weakness and that helps me cover it. In the case of Evil Heroes Unchained, the whole thing is about destroying boards. I kind of want people to summon over and over again so I can use Nibiru, so I can use my kaijus, so I can get more work out of Slumber, so that I can link summon with their monsters. It doesn't really benefit me to stop them in their plays, because it actually slows down my plays if my opponent has less monsters. Which is why I wouldn't play something like Ash Blossom in this deck. But if you're playing in a competitive tournament, where you know there's going to be like 3 or 4 specific decks you're going to be facing most of the time, and those decks are weak to Ash Blossom, there's really no reason not to try to fit it in here. So, you know, I wouldn't play the deck differently, but the deck could be better by adding in some different meta staples. Which staples? I don't know exactly. You'd have to talk to someone who knows a little bit more about the meta. What are the biggest sideboard cards? What are the things you're facing against? Again, I use Ash as a good example, but I'm not actually sure if Ash would be good in this format. In fact, you'd probably be better with something like Effect Veiler, where you could stop the effect, but they still have the summon, they still get out, but you could keep them from making something too big, and then you could get over it, maybe? I don't know. I'm not really sure. On a somewhat related topic, we have Monocrown yugioh asking, which variant of Unchained do you believe to be the one with the most potential to be competitive? And I think it's fairly obvious, True Draco Unchained. Not sure if it's better than pure True Draco, because you kind of lose the ability to run things like Card of Demise since you want a special summon, but you gain the ability to have targeted removal that isn't destruction, which is one of the things that the True Draco really kind of has problems dealing with. They've got all the destruction in the world, they've got all the battle, they've got all the searching and everything, but if you've got something like Malicious Bane, they really only have the one card that can deal with it if they lower its attack over and over again. Or I guess a better example would be the Dingirsu that can protect everything from being destroyed. I don't think True Draco currently really have an out to that, but if you could get the Unchained monster on and then link it away and then start popping all their cards, might be able to do something pretty good. And then I think the final question I have about Unchained specifically comes from Zach Rowe, who asks, what other archetypes would work well with Unchained? We saw True Draco Unchained work well. Is the Fiend type restriction too much for other archetypes like Rockets to handle? Rockets to hand? I guess he meant handle. Let's just assume he meant handle. And I'd probably say, yeah, I don't think anything else can really handle it. I've heard that Unchained Burning Abyss works pretty well, because it's a deck of all fiends. They're monsters, you destroy them, they get effects in the graveyard. And Cherubini is level 3 monster, so there might be some synergy there. You've got level 3 fiends that can destroy stuff. I'm just not sure how well Burning Abyss really benefits from being destroyed. Their floating effects are kind of like a bonus. They're not usually things that you kind of like want to trigger just for the sake of triggering them, except for maybe Farfa. Other than that, I've heard of Fire King Unchained. Might work, because then you summon your stuff next turn, but I don't think you could really destroy cards in your hand, which is what you really want to do with Fire King. And then I also heard someone suggest that I should try Nephthys with Unchained. And I'm not sure anything could help Nephthys. I remember trying to play them a few months back, and they were just like unbelievably slow. Like all their effects are like, wait until your next standby phase and then do something. And I'm not sure if Unchained would really benefit them in any way, but it's another archetype based around destruction, and Unchained is all about destruction, so maybe? Rockets, though, definitely not. I can't imagine that Rockets, because Rockets kind of limit you to, like, Dark Dragons and stuff. I mean, maybe you might tech in one card or two, but I can't imagine it working all that well. And that about does it for the Unchained discussion. If you just came here to talk about Unchained, here are my thoughts on that. thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. I do one of these every 2 weeks. Maybe check out the What a Deck if you like seeing me actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! I do that. I have deck profiles. I play goofy challenges. It's a pretty nice time. I've also got a cool Patreon. Then you could ask questions on the Patreon like those guys at the beginning did. So check it out, have a good time. Other than that, I just got a couple other sort of like house cleaning questions. Questions specifically for me or the channel. Comments that I wanted to highlight. Of course, it wouldn't be What a Deck if I didn't make some huge, glaring misplay. I think this time, the award for that goes quite obviously to me forgetting what Dark Gaia does. If you're unfamiliar with Dark Gaia, let me just go and pull this up here real quick. 1 Fiend plus 1 Rock fusion monster must be fusion with Dark Fusion. Its original attack is equal to the combined attack of both the fusion materials, which is the main reason I used it, because I had a bunch of high attack fiends. I had a 3000 attack rock in Nibiru that's broken against some decks and useless against other decks, so being able to turn it into a huge beater and get it out on the field seemed like a good idea. And really, I just kind of stopped reading there, and I forgot that this card has an effect that when an attack is declared, you can change all defense position monsters to attack position, and flip effects are not activated at this time. Which is a nigh useless effect in most cases, because in the modern game, people are very rarely setting cards, unless they're playing crawlers or something. But in part 2, I was playing a long-ass grind game against Mayakashi, where they just kept summoning zombies in defense mode and cycling through those, and I couldn't destroy them, and if I had just made Dark Gaia, I could have moved their monster into attack and attacked for 4,500, and just ended the game right there, but I completely forgot that Dark Gaia was anything but a beat stick, and boy howdy did everyone remind me about it. It's the top comment. I got like 6 of them. I got one even on the Discord telling me, and I'm sorry. I will never forget that Dark Gaia has a second effect. If I ever play Dark Gaia again, which who knows, heroes could be on the horizon, wink wink. Other than that, I did have a couple comments I really liked. Don Patch XD pointed out that Evil Hero Adjusted Gold isn't quite worth his weight in gold. The average Yu-Gi-Oh card weighs about 1.65 grams, and in pure gold, that would be almost exactly $80. And adjusted gold is like $68. So, not quite a literal bar of gold. However, that is a fun bit of trivia. Now you know, if you ever see a Yu-Gi-Oh card get to $80, it's worth as much as gold now. Get those $80 cards and start putting them away in Fort Knox. I'm sure they'll retain their value. Another comment I really liked from Pori Pal. I don't know why, but I feel like Malicious Bane should be renamed to Delicious Bane, with him wearing a chef's hat and wielding an evil spatula. I've nothing to add to that other than get on it, artists. And other than that, I just have 2 more comments, just a bit of criticism that I kind of want to bring up. First, we have Tired and Cynical, who I guess, given the name, maybe I shouldn't listen to his criticism, but he says, I have to say I'm not a fan of splitting these into parts. I'm used to the full hour videos. And I just want to say, like, if you're feeling the same way, don't hesitate to let me know. I'm changing up the videos because I think I'll get some more new viewers, more people onto the channel, more people who will like the channel, and then hopefully I can grow and get better production value and stuff from there. But I don't want to do that if it drives you all away, and I know I have such a great audience. A lot of people are kind of afraid to tell me if they don't like something. They kind of just want to be nice and go along with whatever I say. And I just want to let you know, if you are feeling the same as him, let me know. The split videos aren't necessarily going to be a permanent feature. Probably going to try them or 2, maybe 3 more episodes, and then judge how it goes from there. So far, they're pretty much not having any effect. I'm getting about the same number of views, the same amount of watch time, just split over 2 videos. I get some comments from people who say they kind of like them, but they tend not to get very many thumbs up. They tend not to be very high up in the comments list. Or maybe I just don't notice them as much as this. But I just wanted to bring it up and be like, you know, I'm open to criticism. If you feel the same way, let me know. And then the other little bit of criticism I got from Mark Fox, who was talking specifically about my habit of releasing the deck profile on Friday and then releasing the full episode on Saturday, usually as like a premiere. And his comment, if you'll excuse me, Mark, I'm going to assume you're Russian because it sounds funnier that way. Sometimes this frustrates me. It's like, me. His profile looks cool. I want to see how it did. Hardleg, mwahaha, you must wait, even though I said check out how it did in the link, I do not allow it yet. Me, aw, damn it. And you know, maybe he didn't phrase it in the best way, but I understand what he's trying to get through there. Especially in this day and age, where people can just make a video and upload it. It seems really artificial to have a schedule like I do, where I release like a video on Friday, another video on Saturday, another one on Sunday, even though I've made all 3 videos like several days prior. It can feel almost like TV, which kind of going by the wayside. People want to be able to watch the things and watch them now. And I understand that desire, but at the same time it's like, if I release 3 videos on the same day, I don't think people are going to sit down and watch all 3 of them in the same day. And if you don't watch them that day and it gets pushed down your feed, people are just kinda going to forget about it. That's assuming that YouTube would even push out 3 videos a day. From what I understand, you get 2 tops, where if you do this, YouTube will push that out to your subscribers. After that, they're kind of like, yeah, you're just spamming everyone. So it's kind of in my best interest to put them one after another, one day after another. And yeah, again, I know it can be kind of frustrating waiting, I know it can be kind of weird, but unfortunately that's just kind of the way things have to be. I'm not sure if I could really afford to change this. I think everything would just be worse if I did. But I wanted to bring it up because, you know, if there is enough backlash, if there is enough of you who are just like, just release it all on the same day and I'll tell my friends and we'll all sit down and have a watch party. I'll make up the lost revenue if you just let me have it all at once. Or maybe, I don't know, I could release the video as like a Patreon reward, release it all on the same day, so if you're a big fan, you can spend $1 and just watch it all on Friday. I always thought those kinds of rewards were stupid. I didn't really get the whole concept of like the early video, because I've always been a really patient guy. If a game comes out, I'll wait 2 years for it to go on sale with all the DLC already on it rather than buy it. But if that's something you really like, or if that really bothers you, again, let me know. Anyway, I've been rambling for the better part of an hour, so I think I'm going to cut it here. But, you know, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, good luck, have fun, snaps, snaps, catchphrase.